What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit about Chris Ballard and kind of the future, right? We're here in the bye week, been telling you we're going to talk about the future, and we've talked a little bit about Chris Ballard before, so some of this stuff is going to be stuff we've talked about before for sure, but just to kind of reiterate, and just to begin the conversation, right, as we continue to talk about the future and what we could possibly see, how the team changes from 2024 to 2025, right? That's what we're doing this bye week. And you got to start with the top, got to start with Chris Ballard. And why, in my opinion, I think we're at a point where you got to move on. And I want to start by also saying, with that, right, with that thought in mind, just know I've been a defender of Chris Ballard for a long time. Whether it was on my other channel, Horseman Sports, back when I was making content over there, used to talk about the Colts and used to defend Chris Ballard like crazy for years. And then on this channel, last year, defending Chris Ballard, I've defended Chris Ballard for a long time, and in my opinion, rightfully so. I think there are a lot of benefits to having Chris Ballard as GM. I think he's a good he gets a lot of good guys in the building. He's a good drafter, in my opinion. The free agents, I feel like, that he brings in, even though he doesn't do a whole lot of free agents, I feel like the free agents that he brings in have been good. Now, obviously, the quarterback trades that he made didn't really work out, but like the trade for DeForest Buckner obviously worked out really well. And there have been, draft picks over time that have become great players. Obviously, Shaq Leonard included in that. Obviously, wasn't able to sustain that, unfortunately, but nonetheless, Chris Ballard, I mean, a lot of benefits to having Chris Ballard, but I think we're at a point with this team, and this is one of the big reasons I think you move on from Chris Ballard, is because he's had basically the same team for a lot of time now, different quarterbacks, different coaches, a lot of time to figure it out, right? To just kind of be able to figure it out, and be able to get this team to win. And this team can't figure out how to win consistently. Now, obviously, getting Anthony good could help with that, of course, in the future, and him being able to carry the team. But right, we're in a place where coming into this offseason, we have 41, okay, between the active roster and the practice squad, including Marcel Dabo from the International Player Program. There are 70 players on the Colts roster. Of those 70 players, 41 are going to be free agents, okay? 41 of these guys. And then when you look at some of the guys on the roster, some of these guys that Chris Ballard has signed, some of the guys who they're coming into the last year of their contract or have 2 years left on their contract, whatever the case may be, you get a new GM, other guys in the front office to come in, get some fresh eyes on these guys that they're not attached to. Right? Get some fresh eyes here to come and look at this team and get their hands on this team and figure out who needs to stay, who needs to go. Obviously, you want to land a guy. Like, who could the options be? I don't know. We're not at that point yet. I probably should start looking into that as we get toward the end of the season, just in case. But for all intents and purposes, like, can you replace him with? Hopefully, you get a guy that can come in and make us successful. Of course, all the good GMs have jobs right now also. So that's the hard thing about moving on from GM, is making sure you can find the right guy that can really go on and help you win. So it's not as easy as, hey, we need to replace this guy, and then you replace him, right? It could completely backfire on us. We could end up with a guy like Joe Sheen from the Giants GM. So I continue to go back and forth on this, but I do think that, again, getting those fresh eyes, getting a new set of eyes on this team, getting fresh blood at the top of the leadership in this building would be a good thing. I also think, obviously, change on the defensive side, and getting some new coaches, new defensive coordinator, new defensive staff to come in and help out. And it all just, everything to me just feels like we're at this perfect point. And of course, I say perfect point, like people's jobs are on the line. People that want to play in the NFL, people that want to have executive jobs and coaching jobs in the NFL, is all at stake. I'm not dismissing that. I don't want to come off as, just throw all this to the side. But nonetheless, the reality of the situation is that a lot of people between all these guys that are going to be free agents, the defensive staff, the front office, there could be a lot of turnover. And I feel like because so much of the roster is going to be turned over due to free agency and their contracts running out, then I think this is the moment. This is the moment you go get a new guy that can build this team in his image, like year one. Build this team in his image around Anthony Richardson and around Jonathan Taylor, around a powerful offensive line, a powerful and seemingly somewhat deep defensive line. Like, how can he build secondary, young secondary that seems to be pretty good as they all continue to get more experience. So we seem pretty good in the secondary, to be completely honest with you. Like, how does a new GM build the team, and how's that all going to go, right? Like, yeah, of course, when you look at, and we've kind of talked about this list before, just in case you didn't see that video, the list of free agents that we're going to have this year include Ryan Kelly, Mo Alley Cox, Ashton Dulin, Danny Pinter, Trey Sermon, Kylan Granson, DJ Montgomery, Sam Ellinger, he's in last year of his contract, probably on the way out. Will Fries, who unfortunately was playing great over his last couple of years, but got the unfortunate injury to end his season. Wesley French, so depth on the offensive line, walking out the door. Xavier Scott, Tyler Goodson, going to be in the last year of his contract. Will he be back? Do we need to find an answer there? Then defensively, EJ Speed, George Odom, Julian Blackman, Dio Dangbo, Ronnie Harrison, Chris Lamons, who's been good on special teams for us, Grant Stewart, good on special teams for us, and when he's had to play, he's been a good fill. How will that go? How much money are we going to put into a backup linebacker that can play special teams? That'll be the question there. Segun Alubi, been a really good linebacker for us, a depth piece. What's going to happen there? I assume we're probably just going to let him go. Rigoberto Sanchez, right, on a one-year deal. What's going to happen with that? A lot of turnover on this roster. So much, like, starters, depth, a lot of different guys, special teams, and core special teams guys. That's going to be needing to be replaced, most likely needing to be replaced. Like, how many of these guys can you really re-sign when you have $53 million and you're trying to build this team around your quarterback? How are you going to build it with the money that you have? Can you get money elsewhere? And that's really what we're going to talk about, right? So Chris Ballard, get a new GM in there. I don't know who that could be, but I just think, again, it's time. Everything, it's the perfect storm, right? And it's just that time for things to kaboom, get a new GM, have them rebuild it in year one. We might start a little slow next year, but with Steichen and with Anthony Richardson, year three together, year three as a quarterback, year three as a head coach in the NFL, figuring it out together. By the end of the season, we're playing our best football, get into playoffs next year, make a little noise, and see what we can do. And we're going to keep talking more about this stuff throughout the week. Going to be a little spotty again. Got a day job, got to be able to do that. Got a lot going on, but through this bye week, want to talk a lot about a lot of different things. So going to get as much to you guys as I possibly can. So make sure you're subscribed, have notifications on, so you get notified anytime any content drops on this channel. Of course, I appreciate you coming by the channel, spend some time with me. Of course, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.